Welcome to Beyond the Build, the podcast where we talk with agency leaders about the work behind the work, how agency life actually feels, how creative ideas survive real-world constraints, and what it takes to build something sustainable without losing the spark that started it. I'm Shawn Johnston. My guest today is Maxwell Krueger, founder of Playbook Creative Agency. Maxwell brings a deep creative background into agency leadership, operating at the intersection of brand, content, and execution. Maxwell, welcome to the show.
Hey, Shawn, I appreciate you for having me. I'm looking forward to this. I've been trying to do more speaking about this pretty unique but also interesting life. And I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate you having me today.
So I'd love to start by understanding the energy behind what you're building. Can you tell us a little bit about you, how Playbook came around, sort of what your focus is on these days?
Yeah. Oh, man, where do I even start? Started as a kind of like idea that my brother and I had. This was probably back in 2017 or 18. And this was when we were in LA making music. At this point, I had been in LA for a couple of years, just kind of making some different projects, meeting people, stuff like that. And this was back in the SoundCloud days. Long story short, we had created a little system to where we could help very, very small artists get a network of like listeners from doing reposts and like I said, very small promotions. And we would charge them like $10, right?
Yep.
And that's like where the name, Playbook kind of came from. Was one day we were just sitting there and we
Yeah.
wanted to help people. That was kind of something on the back burner of me making music for all of my 20s, and we'll probably get more into it, but that was what I was doing, was touring musician, recording artist, stuff like that.
Nice.
And this was always happening in the background. But then I would get random little leads of just people. Some of them were in my life. Some of them were people that would just find our like little landing page and they wanted to get our services. And that's at the point where I'm like, okay, how can I help? There was like
Yep.
one artist that had
Yeah.
a crazy budget for what we were doing. Like I said, we were doing $5, $10 little promos. And an artist hit us up and they were like, hey, we have a few $1,000s. And I'm like, okay,
A
I
chain.
guess I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm like, we can figure it out. We did a campaign for him, did a little bit of paid ads, did some like Google stuff, and then got the social media up for him. And it kind of just, without explaining everything, it kind of just made sense to me that there was this gap
Yep.
in the music industry specifically. Then it just kind of went to what it is now. I ended up moving back to the Midwest a couple years ago. I had just had my daughter. I guess that's like a very big point in there.
There you go.
And the whole point was I was like, I've made it so far with my music. I went from being just this kid in a small town to then traveling the world or traveling the country, not the whole world, traveling and being able to live off of my craft. And I just felt like I wasn't aligned anymore with wanting to be like a celebrity and in the limelight and just
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah. Kids
So
will change your
I
priorities,
kind
that's for sure.
100%. Yeah. I had to just look at it. And then the industry was changing too. So I just had some decisions to make. And I just took a leap and reached out to some businesses and said, hey, I think I can help you. I wasn't trying to sell them anything. I was like, I think I can help. Can I try? They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And now here we are 2 years later, list of clients and millions and millions of impressions, dollars made for clients, everything. So
Yeah, I remember in the very early days of my freelance hustle, I was starting to moonlight. One of my first day gigs was doing custom MySpace pages for this guy that represented small artists.
that's awesome, actually. What a crazy alignment of that, though. Like,
It was funny.
that's crazy.
All right. So, how would you describe the culture or creative DNA of your team today? What is Playbook all about?
Man, that amazing question to just start it off because these are things like I think about this all the time and I don't always even have the structure to like put the thoughts somewhere. I've been thinking about it a lot just as I'm trying to expand and I'll try to explain this in the least amount of words. It's basically like everything that you think Playbook would be. eh, I really trying to think. Let me gather what I'm thinking because when I came up with the name Playbook Creative Agency, that was essentially me wanting to switch it from like the playbook sounds is what we were doing like the music stuff with, and I was
Okay.
like, I'm gonna switch it because of what a playbook is, right? Like I was really, really like my family's really athletic, so like I was always in the sport playing basketball and stuff.
Hmm.
And anytime I think of playbook, I think of like the strategy to get us from point A to point B. Like you follow,
Yep.
strategy.
Hmm.
So some of the first clients kind of, like I said, it was very grassroots and it was very like freelance based. And I didn't realize that these clients and this ideology ended up setting me up to create of what you're asking about, like a culture, right? So me like going above and beyond and staying up all night to finish a 15-second video because the client cared about this product more than the other one, like because I noticed it, because I took the notes of their facial expressions when they were telling me about it. Like without explaining it forever, the culture is just, if we're Playbook and someone is hiring us to get them from point A to point B, we're everything that needs to do that.
Yeah.
And the team needs to understand that. I think that's something I've kind of dealt with in working with people and contractors and stuff, other freelancers even. I used to find myself trying to explain things like, well, when I had my first client, I would do this, or I would always study this aspect of it, or
Yeah.
hey, you should do this because it'll help you understand why I'm doing this. And then I realized that's like not how you teach people really, like that. Now let the company adopt that as the culture, but I can't teach someone to be me or to do what I did.
Nope. No one will care like you do, unfortunately.
And I think, as cliche as it kind of might be, that is kind of what the culture kind of is right now. And I mean, that's been amazing. And it's also been a bottleneck. And being someone that has made my own income for adulthood, it's hard to gauge what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I think before we actually were recording, we were chatting a little bit about what I've been working on. This past couple weeks have been system oriented like crazy, because I realized I didn't even have proper. I'm doing everything. Like I didn't even have proper SOPs or proper monthly deliverables. I didn't have these somewhere
Yeah.
where people they could get them. Like everybody who's working with us, they can get them, but not easily though. Like they have to maybe remember to search this, and oh, that's in Google Docs, not in the ClickUp.
Yeah.
And I've really focused to get these down, and it's making me realize that I've been triple, quadruple working on projects that I don't need to. And it's
Yeah.
not because I don't care. I used to think that like getting something done means that it wasn't perfected, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question at all? Like just like above and
Good
beyond,
enough.
I think. Good enough. Yeah. I mean, we're building it. We're
I
building it. Ask me again in a year.
Yeah. Well, I think like there's like a maturity model. There's a few of them that exist out there, but I
Mhm.
actually kind of like put together a scorecard and a bunch of content around the different stages. You're like out of the hustle and kind of moving into repeat, but now you're realizing that it's too much of a hero game. So now you're in systemize. And so like that's a really
Mhm.
important stage. Um, because, and this is what I tell everyone at any stage, document
Mhm.
everything, right? All roads can't lead to Maxwell. You can't scale that. Yeah.
Right.
So,
No, that's
so it
yeah.
sounds like then like when new ideas come in, like a brand or a campaign or a big concept, like how does the energy actually move through the team? Is it like through you and distributed? And if so, like how do you want that to change?
Yeah, man, it's crazy because I just literally sent a message like as I'm getting on this call dealing with this. And it's funny because I was actually just trying to brainstorm. Like I don't really know. And I think as I'm doing meetings like this or podcasts like this, I think the old me wants to be like, give you a definitive answer. But right now I'm in a learning stage right now, because
Nice.
I do all like the other aspect is I've had a lot of referral based work. So I've worked with some amazing people, and I'm very grateful to who have had, trust me with their stuff. But even when I do cold stuff, I have this certain nature to myself. I mean, I've been a musician, I'm a songwriter. Like I know how to talk to people. And I think that that's been a very huge benefit, but it's also made it really hard to, duplicate.
Yeah.
I didn't even know the difference between a setter and a closer.
You have to figure out how to like package and systemize your genius so other people can
Yeah.
actually follow it. So yeah, it
Yep.
has to eventually it has to come out of your brain and become process. That's the key.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like trust, like a trustworthy. And I think what I've realized is I have ADHD, and that's something that I've been able to, it's been something that has hurt me, it's been something that's been amazing for me.
Yep.
But the one thing it's been is just had to learn, like, there's a way to manage people, there's a way to explain things, there's a way to teach things. There's a reason of why teachers are teachers,
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah. There's
all these
process.
things. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think for a long time, I didn't know how I wanted that to go. Like I
Yep.
had everything in a really good place of where, we don't like need more clients, or we don't need to go do all these things. But that's because I'm working in the business, not and having zero time to work
Yeah.
on the business.
That's right. Yeah.
So
It's a tough
Yeah.
balance. Yeah. I was diagnosed ADHD about 10 years ago and autistic about 2 years ago. So I know about the nerd verse
Yeah.
struggle, particularly when it's like, it makes sense inside of me, but having to put that out where
Mhm.
it can make sense for other people, that can be harder than it sounds. So
Right.
coming from a music background, like what surprised you the most about being responsible for the business side of creative work?
Yeah, that's another really good question. I really appreciate these good questions because it makes me like I think about these things all the time. Honestly, I'm gonna get a little deep with it. One of the biggest surprises is how much I've been like capable of doing. I, I say that like humbly, of course, but even in a different aspect of like creativity or accomplishments or anything, it's more so of like music was my therapy, music was my everything. I say that not lightly, like it was everything, right? I did not do good in school. I did not go to college. I did not have any other really interests. I was very creative. I was a very good songwriter, very good musician, all these things, but I didn't like know what I wanted to to do besides that. And then it was weird having conflicts of like knowing I don't want to be famous, but like I know I can be a full-time musician without being famous. But then the nuance of that, like just it's really difficult. But the biggest thing is just like I think it's just like what's out there to say broadly what is really truly out there. Because if I would have had this perspective in LA, I confidently would be like I would have a multiple office 100 plus person agency at this point. Like, and I say that too, because I literally was interning with some of these agencies doing 6 figures per month. And I didn't
Yeah.
even know what I didn't even know what was like at my fingertips, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, you know?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Even seeing the money, like I would see them, they were doing huge. It's just, there's so many realizations that I'm running a business is just, it is not for everybody, but it makes sense of why I'm like doing this
Yeah.
and I just am so grateful. Just I don't know. It's just people don't talk like the tax stuff, the finance stuff, the whole
Yeah.
like the trust, the client. Like people don't understand. Of like, I was getting a phone call at 6 a.m. and it was a client that was just excited. They were just excited to talk about some stuff. But it's like
Yeah.
people, yeah, I don't know. Just I just love this. I love this so much. I love social media and I always have. Just the internet. Just I don't know. It's
Yeah.
all so surprising.
I always say
I think I
that
have too much. I have to think about it a little more.
I always say starting an agency was the best worst thing I ever did.
Mhm.
There's so much about it that I loved, but all of the hard parts of it that I didn't realize that I had to learn the hard way. Yeah,
What would you
I'd have
say is the biggest one of that, like the hard stuff?
people,
Mm,
right? Hiring, managing, supporting, growing the humans in the organization is by
mhm,
far and away the hardest part. And I did a really
okay.
bad job of it for the first 5 years.
Mhm.
I do a very good job of it now, but I had to do it really badly first before I figured it out. So yeah,
What do you think is a and I'm asking this because this is like these are things I can't search on YouTube. Like
yeah.
I can't ask this question on YouTube, but like what would you say like attributed to you not besides experience, like to you not doing it well, like how you are now?
Well, we're talking about ADHD. So doing it badly was pre-diagnosis and doing it better was post. And so
Okay.
I think that in order to lead other people, you have to know yourself so that you can
Mhm.
meet other people where they are. You can't do that if you don't know who you are. So yeah, I was really comfortable with changing plans every single day.
Mhm.
And it was very hard for me to stick to anything for the longer any period of time. I was constantly reacting to little micro pivots that were needed. But
Yeah.
the people around me were not comfortable with that. And I didn't do a very good job of communicating or preparing
Mhm.
or stewarding everyone through those sorts of things. So, because I thought I had to keep everybody comfortable, and I thought I kept people comfortable by what they managing what they perceived was the truth.
Mhm.
So, yeah, like the biggest what from on the other side of the diagnosis, like genuinely understanding where I was successful and not successful, like it allowed me to put guardrails in place for me. And
Mm.
that's when I started just being really transparent. So transparency was everybody just wants to understand, they want to be met, they want to feel safe, they want to feel like their work has meaning. And that's very hard to do when they don't understand the environment that they're in to do that work.
Yeah, no, That makes perfect
That's the
sense.
leader's job, right? You see, your leadership's job isn't to lead people; it's to steward the environment that people do work in. That's your job.
Right, because if the environment's good, you don't have to lead. It's
That's
just what
just
it
it.
is.
That's right.
Mm,
Yeah. So you
that makes
you
sense.
lead in the work, not at people.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
work.
good.
That was a good old tangent. I'm just going to move
I
down
love it.
to. So, yeah, we talked a little bit about in our pre-chat sort of the differences between creating for yourself and creating for other people, and some of the I
Mhm.
always call it the design friction that comes along with needing to do that. Like, have you ever felt the momentum of a great idea get slowed down by the realities of actually having to deliver that or get it approved?
Wow. And see, now we're talking about getting into the things that we do good and do not. With the point I'm at right now, I'm facing that every day still. And that is creating the amount of friction that what you said is creating. Like I shouldn't say still every day. I should say up until 3 weeks ago, since I've really been trying to hold myself to this rigid kind of like guardrails. Like I'm finally seeing what it looks like to not be that.
Yeah.
Because what was happening is I was like in the pre-chat, like you said, I found this peace and this new obsession that I put my whole life into music. Well, now I was getting new cameras. I'm learning how to properly use the different black magic apps on the iPhone. I'm learning how to color grade. I'm learning how to do graphic design for different reasons, of like, are we doing an ad? Are we doing a promo? Like whatever it might be. And, I'm an artist at heart in my entire existence. So like, I really love doing that. It's like, if it's not centered, it doesn't have to, I'm not a perfectionist necessarily. Like I am an artist, but it's going to reflect back to me. So I want it to look good. Right.
Yep.
There's
There's a
been so
personal
many things.
there's an investment in the work personally.
Exactly, exactly. And for a long time, because I was essentially restarting my identity entirely,
Yeah.
I really held on to that. So, like, I would do videos for these clients that were really small businesses and stuff that all of a sudden their videos are just crazy or there's super viral ideas, just random like stuff that people in this area aren't doing. But then it's not credited as that. It's just
Mhm.
what it is. And it took me a long time to understand, even enough to be able to explain to other contractors and designers that I'm working with. It took me a long time to explain, hey, we're working for the client. Like I hired you because the client hired me. They hired, well, not even me. It used to be me. Like they hired me. Like they want to see what Max can do. Now I have to explain, hey guys, this is what they want. You can make it or they can, or like someone else on the team can make it. And if not, then you're going to be wasting your time if you're trying to make like a masterpiece. You're going to be wasting the client's time for something that
Yeah.
might not even get approved.
Yep.
So, I don't know, I don't mean to tangent off of that too much, but yeah, like, that has been a big thing that I finally am, like, learning is okay, because when you're freelance, like, as an artist, every day I'm having to, like, wake up and try to make a song, like, maybe this will be the one that does it, or get a feature, get a collaboration, all these different things,
Mhm.
but even having clients on a retainer contract, like, if you explain stuff the wrong way, they might think that if their sales didn't 10 times in the first month, that something's wrong.
Yeah.
But because you forgot to explain to them that a campaign takes 90 days to even integrate,
Yeah.
like,
You gotta manage the expectations for sure.
yeah. So that, like, how you just put the word on managing the expectations, that is the big change I've made to kind of like
Yeah.
get away
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah, well, and it's not only for the client, but for the team as well. Like you
Hmm.
have to define what good looks like, and you have to
Hmm.
define what done looks like. If people don't know, um, then yeah, that's how you move into like inefficiencies and preciousness and stuff like that. So I say this all the time, even on this show. But like one of the big driving ideals on like inside the business is perfect is the enemy of done. So like
Literally.
So,
Wow.
like, how do you protect the original spark of an idea kind of once it enters the machine?
That's a good question. I think
I only ask good questions.
No, for real though. I think I've said that to every single question. That's actually crazy. I think it's because not everybody asks good questions though. But I mean, I can tell that you care though. So that's the outlier. I like to think that it's how I express it. I like to think that until I realize that I've been on an hour FaceTime call after every meeting that doesn't end up going to anything unless I make some solid notes in
Yeah.
the whole thing. So honestly, that's making me think just because normally I do it right then.
Yeah,
That
because
like
it's your
just
vision from
right
start to
then.
finish. Yeah,
Exactly. I think yesterday for Valentine's Day, I think I did that and I was kind of kicking myself a little bit because the team's done. Like they've been finished since like the 5th. And
yeah,
everything has been scheduled. Everything's been good. And I'm talking about for 2 main clients right now. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I acted on it. And I'm like, okay, well, here I am an hour and a half later in Canva. Yes, it's done. Yes, it's good. Yes, it might help, but I need to call my accountant and call my internet supplier and get it switched to my new address. Like I need like there's things that I'm using the creativity almost as it's the fun work, you know? I think
yeah,
that's the thing. Is like no one wants to do the not fun stuff. And I need to
yeah.
remind myself daily to like, hey, I know it's fun to learn how to make a new edit.
Yeah. So one of the fundamental things I had to learn about ADHD, particularly when you like what you do, like I turned my hobby into a business. Like, so
Mhm,
like it's sometimes it's hard not to dabble too much,
mhm,
but I had to learn that task-based procrastination is a real thing. So like if I have a thing that I don't want to do and there's three things I'd
mhm.
rather do, I will always do those three things. And I will sometimes not realize how often I've punted the thing I don't want to do. Like I finally got back to somebody. I was like, oh, it's been 2 weeks. Oops. Because it was a big thing that I needed to like get back to them on. So yeah,
Yep.
you have to be aware of those sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah, task-based procrastination. I'm writing that down just 'cause, deal with
So
that a lot.
how has running an agency changed the way you see yourself as a creative?
It has given me what I needed to be the father that I always hoped I could be, and I'm
Yes.
saying that because I lost my dad my senior year, okay? That was very weird for many, 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 many reasons. I'm 30 now, so that was over 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
But the big thing was, like, I always tell people I never cared about anything after that. Obviously, that's me being kinda morbid about it, but, like, it's this weird thing of, like, saying, like, once you when you any kinda trauma that's huge, like, you don't it's hard to care too much after that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think with that, I I had accomplished so much, I had done so much, I had met amazing people, and I had essentially like been really proud of like how like saw myself, how I carry myself, and what people say about me. But I always felt a little bit like left behind because of like the school. Like the school was one big time. I was really bad at school. So I'm saying that so like because I always felt like I was doing stuff where it needed to be. Like good enough, I guess. But I had never thought about what it would be like to be able to afford what I need, like
Yeah.
what I actually need. And now I'm at
Yeah.
a point to where I needed to have reliable wheels, and I went and did that, and it wasn't a question.
Yeah.
I cannot believe that. Like, and I'm only using the car because that was something that like I always talked to my friends about that. Like I always had a beater because how else would I not? Like
Yeah.
my friends are working at the bank or whatever, whatever's happening. It's
Yeah.
just put me in this whole different zone of just like, oh, this is what it means to like have things that you need,
Yeah.
talking about getting like insurance policies and life insurance policies and not being able to do certain things like my apartment, my rent had to get raised. I
Yeah.
will happily give that to him. So
Yeah.
it's just showed me what's possible, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's changed damn near everything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot though. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I started without a lot either. Yeah. My first car had a hole in the floor, and most of the time I could only get in and out of it through the hatchbacks.
There we go.
It was a good old beater, so I hated that thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, the building a business is sort of what it allows you to create when people like us struggled and didn't
Yeah.
start with too much. It does help you see what's possible. So I
Yeah.
relate to that. Okay, what does success mean to you now? Like, how is it different from when you started?
I'm gonna try to answer differently than how I have. And me and my friends just started this group chat called 30-Year-Old Men, and we're just
Yeah,
talking about literally this.
yeah.
Where is it? Question I've been asking myself. I don't know if you
Is
can
it
see
the
it. It's
money?
is it the money?
Yeah, yeah,
I have a just this like IKEA little board right here with a bunch of post-it notes. Ask me 2 years ago, I would say I have made it. And I'm talking like apparent like if I was to look at my numbers like right now, 2 years ago, even as having this started, I'd be like, oh dude, it's time to buy a Corvette, or when are you gonna get a
yeah,
Lamborghini? Like, you know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah,
and now I'm like it's weird that I'm like I don't know, because I don't care about like material stuff really, like I
Yeah.
don't really care about that type of stuff.
I'm not big on things either.
Yeah, like a lot of I invest a lot into like things to help the business, like obviously like camera stuff, like equipment, stuff like that. And I really enjoy good food. So when success, again, talking about success, I'm like, I like to enjoy my moments. I like to have
Yeah.
my time. And I think that I'm able to round it off at that because like when I had a mentor last year and I was like, man, I'm trying to scale. I'm trying to get up. How can I be making, I need the agency to be bringing in 20,000 a month, 30,000 a month. Now, mind you, that's me operating as a freelancer pretty much. So
Yeah.
like not even understanding what that means. And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, well, I think there was like a month that was like, and this was in the thick of it. There was like a month that like it was like double or triple. That was one of the worst months of the business period. Not because of the money, but because the pressure of something that I was like, what is going to happen
Yeah.
if this is messed up?
Yeah.
But like, I guess I'm still asking myself and I'm still trying to figure that out because, I have the luxury of, I'm about to go pick up my daughter from daycare here in about an hour. I'm gonna go take her up to Michigan, go hang out with my mom and my niece for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And like that's success to me. Like success is that I don't have a single client or anybody wondering, hey, where are you going or what's happening? And just the fact of like, I've started investing like with her, like for my daughter and stuff, like just things that
Yeah.
I just never really knew. So I think it's just like peace at the end of the day. It's peace and like ownership and just yeah, patience maybe, like just
There's a
freedom.
there's an agency too. There's a sense of control over your life when you can actually make choices.
Yeah.
For me, that's what success in the end was. Because I'm a lot older than you. So like having the luxury of having choice rather than life just being about what has to be done. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what success is for me.
Yeah, no, and that's beautiful because to me, like even hearing it like that, I might have like a few months ago been super busy, like not even knowing what to do next. Part of me can be like, oh, I feel like like am I successful? But then the nice thing about that is those things that I'm like worrying and buzzing around in my brain, those are they have nothing to do with like the satisfaction of right now, the
That's right.
client, the campaign right now. Half of these things are things that are happening for the event in the summer, like just
Mhm.
stuff that's so far away. That was really even I think I needed to hear you say that even too, just because like I've been explaining it to my friends as like being bored these past couple weeks,
Being
but
bored is awesome.
exactly, exactly, exactly,
Everyone should be bored a little bit. We've gotten way too busy.
exactly, exactly. No, yeah, that's awesome. That's yeah, I love
At
hearing
least
that.
twice a year, I make myself get bored for like 2 weeks. That's vacation
Yeah.
for me is literally just a, how bored can I get? Yeah.
Mm.
So that's a wrap for this episode of Beyond the Build. Huge thanks to Maxwell Krueger for such a thoughtful conversation about creative identity, leadership, and building something sustainable without losing the spark that started it. If you're building a creative agency and wrestling with momentum versus sustainability, this one will probably feel familiar. So, Maxwell, thanks very much for being on the show.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. Hope someone can learn something. Hopefully we can talk again soon.
Wonderful. All right, everyone, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.